Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance.
The first one is titled, My 26 meters, wife, 27F. Cheated, but my family are taking her side and making things harder for me. We grow up almost together, our parents were close friends and we lived in the same building. I used to hate her when I was a kid because she was always better than me, and I can say she received more love from my parents than me. We both got accepted in the best university in our country, but they only held a party for her, and their excuse was, she ranked second in the whole country while I was only top 50. But she herself cared for me more than anyone else. She confessed to me when I was 17 and we got married when I was 23, 3 years ago. We had a great marriage until 3 months ago. I came home and before going in I stopped to smoke a cigarette. Then I heard my wife voice from the window. I went closer to talk to her and it was when I heard her saying, "We should end this, it's wrong. I love Dan." What she calls me. Don't call me again. I felt like I wanted to throw up. My stomach felt really bad, but after a few minutes I calmed down and went in. I didn't say anything to her. I was trying to convince myself maybe I'm wrong. Later my wife left the house to go to gym. She always leaves her phone at home when she's going to the gym. After struggling for few minutes I decided to check her phone. I can open it with my fingerprints. It was her decision to add my fingerprints so I can use it in case of emergency. I found the chats very quickly. They've been talking for 1 month. I was expecting that she had already deleted anything about him, but well, it was all there. I knew the guy from high school. He had nothing but looks. After reading the chats I realized they got in contact in a school gathering party and my wife asked him few questions about photos since he's a model, and then they had a meeting which I didn't know about. After that they were more intimate and went on a second date. He kissed her in that date, and they talked about it in chat. It was 2 days ago. I had enough. I stopped reading. I wrote, "I want a divorce. How could you do this to me?" on a paper and left it on top of the phone with chats still open and left the house. I turned off my phone and went to my parents' house. Next day when I woke up she was there, and I soon realized my parents think we had a problem and want to help us. They kept saying, "Married couples always fight and we should overcome these issues." I was really tired, angry, and when my father repeated almost the same thing I shouted, "She ducking cheated on me. She cheated on me," and then I realized I'm crying. I left the house and went to my parents' house. I expected my parents to take my side and stop bothering me, but next day my mother called me and said, she explained everything to me. She's really sorry. It's not that bad. She didn't have any close relationship with him. We should be forgiving. I was desperate. I said no, I want a divorce, and she kept telling me those things again. And she was saying I'm overreacting, it was only a small mistake, and it's like they had sex just 2 times when they met. I hung up. Few days later, I went to my parents' house to talk to my father about selling the house after divorce, and he said, "I'll only allow you in my house with your wife," and then closed the door. It was second saddest moments in my life after I realized my wife cheated. It's been 3 months and my parents keep asking me to forgive her and don't allow me in their house. We're still married because she refused to sign the divorce papers, and in my country if one of the partners refuse to get divorced it will take lots of time and they have to first participate in 3 sessions with a therapist. And she's been following me whenever she can, crying, asking me to give her another chance, and seeing her like this make me really sad because I really loved her. But I just can't forgive her. I just can't trust her anymore, and I always think about how she cheated on me. I don't know anymore what to do with my life, how to deal with my parents, or even how to make her stop. A user in the comments said, "You need space, and your wife and your parents aren't giving you any of it. You need to clear your head and process all of this, but your parents are just pushing you further away by punishing you instead of her. Your parents are terrible people, especially when they favored your wife since your childhood. You need to get away from all of them. Try moving somewhere new, somewhere away from them, somewhere you can start fresh." Another user said, "I'm so sorry this happened to you. When you love someone for so long and they cheat on you with intent, it's hard to trust anything they say again and hurts really bad. Your parents likely want you to stay together because you've been together for so long and they care about her a lot. What really matters is your life though. It sounds like your parents are trying to force you to take her back, but meeting that guy from school and having dates and kisses shows that she is capable of being deceitful and keeping secrets. I would be very angry if my husband did this and maybe not divorce, but I wouldn't want to see or touch him for some time. Your parents are being extreme in taking her side completely. I think you should attend a therapy session by yourself to process your emotions with a professional and build a timeline of actions to take. Divorce in your country sounds hard. If you take that path, plan it well. Your wife sounds like she will turn others against you. Also, do you have friends? Lean on them for support. The next one is titled, Update. My, 26 meters, wife, 27F. Cheated, but my family are taking her side and making things harder for me. Since things are almost over and I'm in a better situation, I decided to post an update. I considered some of comments specially about my parents. About 20 days ago one of our friends gave a message from her. She said she would sign the papers if I meet her and listen to her words. I used a new SIM card and didn't check my social apps, so I had no contact with her. We met. Well, it was really awkward. She wasn't even sure what she wants to tell me or even if she wants to talk about it, but eventually she explained herself a little. She said that they didn't have physical contact and it was just one kiss supposedly. I said I don't care, she lost my trust and that's it. And a lot of other words. I was trying to be cold, but when she started crying I lost it and she asked me for a second chance. I said, you know me enough, so you already know even if I give you another chance I won't be able to treat you the same and I don't want to do that. I asked her to sign the papers with my lawyer, which she did. Then I walked her to her car and she said, I'm sorry, I don't know why I did that, I was out my mind, but I still love you more than anything. I wanted to say you wouldn't have done this if you actually loved me, but I controlled myself. It's obvious that I still have feeling for her. I didn't to make the ending sadder. As for my parents, I talked to them several times and my mother got a little better, but after I told my father about her signing the papers, he said that he would remove me from his inheritance and give everything to my sister, and I said I don't care. Not that I actually don't care about money, I have enough of my own, but my sister hates my parents more than anyone and I know she wouldn't accept their money at all. She is into women and my parents are Muslim, so it was completely unacceptable for them, so they hurt a lot before she left, and they finally had to accept her after years. I know she would only visit them once a year at best, but we have a good relationship. Even though my wife is her close friend, she still supported me. So, while I'm talking with my mom a little, my relationship with my father is non-existent until he accepts this fact, and this time I want him to say he will support me from now on and he made a mistake in past. I didn't want this to spread because of my own reputation, which is important here, but it did anyway. About 1 week ago my friend called me saying he know about this and he's really sorry. The guy manager is working for his company, and he already talked to him, and he won't get any other job. It's a small industry and he will make sure that he won't get accepted in another agency. Well, you guys might say that it won't help you feel any better and it's not moral, but so what, he did. Few days later finally the guy came to my office to apologize, which obviously is because of his job, but I didn't accept. After a while he got frustrated or angry or whatever and started badmouthing me and my ex-wife. I punched him in the face, and he was dragged out by guards. He won't be able to sue me because if he does and I bring up his relationship with my ex-wife to police, he will be in a big trouble. In our country it's considered a very big crime and also has crazy punishment. I don't want to act like what I did was correct. I know it was wrong, but at least I won't have these thoughts about why I didn't sue him or do anything to him anymore. Sorry it got a little long. I was actually thinking about them again when I was writing, and it was definitely one of the hardest and saddest parts of my life. The next one is titled, I Ada for telling my wife's friend she is too old and ugly after she repeatedly asked my 19-year-old son to take off his shirt. He was getting uncomfortable. My family had a small get-together at my house. One of my wife's friends was over. She is unmarried. I think she is 45 to 47. We aren't too close to her since she lives pretty far away. She was over our house, and she started complimenting my son, my son is 19. It starts off innocent, but as time goes on it gets more and more crossing the line. When we were out on my deck, she starts telling my son to take his shirt off. What's the point of going to the gym if no one will see it? My son is visibly uncomfortable and tries to shut her down. She repeatedly is asking and is getting more aggressive with it. I interject and I am like, "Hey Kathy, I think you are a bit too old and ugly for my son." This got her upset really quickly, and she excuses herself to the bathroom and starts crying. My wife goes to comfort her, and then later she leaves. At the end of it, my wife is super angry with me for saying that I should have said, "Hey Kathy, looks like you had too much to drink or something else." I told my wife that Kathy, BTW, this is not her real name, works a corporate job, she has had training on this, and that she knows better. And our son was uncomfortable. He is 18, but he doesn't know how to deal with an adult, let alone someone saying that in our house. I told my wife flat out that if I was to invite a guy friend and he was to ask to see our daughter in a bikini, my wife would have called the police. She says it's different. I tell her that I was way kinder to Kathy than I would have been had a guy said something like that to our daughter. And I told my wife that Kathy needs to apologize to my son before she can ever come into our house again. Overall, I think I was fair. If Kathy just said it once and I said that, I think I would be the butthole. But the fact she kept repeating it, that's why I said it. And I wanted her to get the message that yes, I am upset, that's why I included the ugly part. A user in the comments said, "I'm going to go with NTA. It would probably have been better to say sternly, 'Kathy, that's enough. Stop it or leave my house,' and leaving her appearance out of it." However, your comments were in the context of her sexually harassing your barely legal child who is less than half her age, and I'm having a hard time sustaining any outrage because you were a little snarky slapping down her exploitive and inappropriate behavior. Your wife is wrong. It is not better because she is a woman, and your son is a man. Sexual harassment and preying on the fact that younger people often don't have experience shutting down inappropriate advances, particularly from someone connected to their parents or in some authority or authority-adjacent position, is always wrong. The gender of the perpetrator and victim are irrelevant, and if she has a tendency to behave in a sexually inappropriate and aggressive manner when drinking, then she should never drink. Another user said, "NTA. Thank you for being a good parent and defending your son. How your wife thought it wasn't an issue is beyond me. Regardless of gender, what her friend did is a form of harassment. It is also downright creepy that that woman would sexualize her friend's son. You did great, don't let your wife make you think otherwise." The next one is titled, "I Ada for telling my wife and in-laws to duck off after they told me to stop cuddling my daughter. I have 3 kids, 15F, 12F and 7M. My oldest has always been a cuddler, and that suits me fine because I am too. Recently my in-laws were over, and we were all watching a movie together. It was a kids movie, and so my 15-yo was bored out of her mind and tired, so she started to snuggle up to me and go to sleep. After the movie was over, we sent all the kids to bed, their rooms, and got chatting for a bit longer. There was a fair bit of wine involved. I was sober though, and eventually after a short silence my Phil let it drop that he thought it was inappropriate I still cuddled with my 15-yo. I don't really know why he brought it up suddenly, but I was prepared to laugh it off and just assumed it was the alcohol. To my surprise, my wife and Mill both agreed with him. I have a lot of respect for my in-laws. I get along with them great and I consider them closer than my own parents. Obviously I'm quite fond of my wife as well, but I outright told them to duck off and go duck themselves, and then left them and went to bed. I've never spoken to any of them like that before, but it felt like the right thing to say in the moment. They all want me to apologize for being so rude to them. Ada? A user in the comments said, "Please, don't ever tell your daughter that they said this. It will devastate her and potentially cause a wedge in your relationship. Because it's a non-issue between you and her, keep it a non-issue." Another user said, "NTA. I mean, why for God's sake should a father not be allowed to cuddle with his kids? Not be allowed to show them that he loves them? And please, don't hit me with that, she is a woman now, it's wrong, in a sexual way. If the daughter is okay with it, then it's not sexual harassment or anything like that. It's the love of a parent for his kid, which is awesome. I mean, I'm a 16-year-old male, and I still let my family hug and cuddle with me. Because I love them. And the only thing it makes me is realize that they love me too. So, clearly not the butthole. Another person said, NTA, I'm 21 ducking years old, and if given the chance I will cuddle my dad. Why? Because I love him. I love him and my mom, and I love to kiss and cuddle them whenever I can. Cuddles is a love language you both speak. It's platonic intimacy. It's peak mutual bonding. Duck, and I cannot stress this enough, them. You have an actual, mutual, loving bond with your teenage daughter. So many parents would kill for that. I mean, yeah, what you said was rude, but don't apologize to them unless they'll apologize back for trying to invalidate your bond with your child. And for perpetuating toxic masculinity. But make sure you only apologize for using the F-bomb. They're in the wrong here. This is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the relationship stories. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and write a comment. I really appreciate your support and it helps my channel so much. Thank you.